Today we're going to talk about Educreations and how to use it as a screencasting tool in your classroom, and also how students can use it. It is a very user-friendly tool, so let's get started. The first thing I want to show you is how to create an account. It's pretty straightforward. In order to save your recordings, you need to have an account. So one of the first things that you can do is click create free account. One of the first things I did as a teacher was I wanted to make sure that I created an account on my laptop first. It was a lot easier to do that. Then I had my login and username that way. There are two schools of thoughts to this. If you have Google Apps for Education in your school, your kids can go ahead and create their student account using their email that they already have, and they can sign up that way. If you don't, when you create your teacher account, you will get a course code very similar to Edmodo, and you can give your student the course code and they can log in with that. Okay? But as far as you and creating a teacher account, it is much easier to do on a PC than it is on the laptop. So I would suggest that if you register for the very first time and you've got a second and a PC or a Mac is near, go ahead and log in that way. Once you've created an account, this is the interface that you will see. You have new lesson right here. You have share this app right here. Then over here, as you click on it, you have different ways that you can email, share to Facebook and Twitter, and then share the link to your apps. And then you can also delete what you've done right here as well with your trash can. Okay? All right, we're going to create a new lesson by clicking on the New Lesson tab. And right here, this will show you basically all of your different things that you have. You have your done button. You want to make sure that you tell your kids and yourself as well, never click this until you are totally done, because the only drawback to Educreations is that it's a one and done app. You do not have the ability to edit anything. So you want to make sure that you do not click this button until you are absolutely sure that you are finished. Here you have your different color scheme options. You can change these by holding and pressing on any one of the bars, and you can reset the colors any way that you choose. You can pick whatever colors you want to just by clicking and holding on that little down arrow. And again, choose whatever you want. Okay. By clicking on the text tool and then tapping anywhere you want to, you can type anything you want. Whoops. I am not on top of my game today. There we go. And then clicking away. Again, by clicking on it, I can double click inside of it and I can do lots of things. If I hit the minus sign, which is right here on my text bar, right down here, if I hit the minus sign, it's going to make my text smaller. If I hit the plus sign, it's going to make my text bigger. Okay? And again, I can pull right over here in the corner and make my text box bigger if I want to, or I can make my text box smaller if I want to by pulling on that. All right? When I'm all finished, I can just click in the white, or I can click done, and then it becomes movable, and I can do whatever I want to do with that. Okay? Next, right up here, we have the ability to add add photos and pictures from the camera roll, from Dropbox, or from the web. Today, I'm going to add a few pictures from the camera roll because we're talking about our favorite TV shows. So by clicking on the camera roll, again, by clicking on the camera roll in my photos, wonder if you guys can tell which TV show that I'm going to pick. Okay, here we go. Favorite TV shows. And by pulling and pinching, I can make that as big as I want to. And then by pressing on the corners and twisting, I can move that in any direction that I want to move it. Okay? All right. So, to add a page, I simply come down here. I can press on my plus sign, and then my arrows move me back and forth between my pages that I have in my project. So I'm going to hit the plus sign. And now I have 2 pages. Okay? Okay, so I did a little front loading of our video that we're making because I wanted to get some slides done. As you can see right down here, I have 1 of 7 done so far in our little favorite TV show about friends. Okay, so if I'm the student, I have done some slides already. I've written with my finger. I wanted to show you that you could do that. A show about a group of 6 friends. And then I've added my pictures. I have a slide for Ross. I have a slide for Monica. I have a slide for Chandler. I have a slide for Phoebe. I have a slide for Rachel. Now I'm going to show you how I put that together, and we'll finish with Joey. I apologize if you're not a Friends fan, but you know, when I do tutorials, I'm not doing them for students, and so I have to keep myself entertained, and this has definitely been entertaining for me, so I apologize. Here's how I do that. Again, I want to make sure that I come up and I grab my pictures from right here. So I'm going to tap on that and click on Photos and go out to my camera roll. And then the pictures that I want to add, I tap on them. Now I get my menu that comes up right down here, and I have these choices. Typically, I don't need to do anything with these right now. Now, if I was using these as a teacher and I was going to hand this to a student, or if I was working with this and making a tutorial that I wanted to make sure my image didn't move, I would lock the image for sure. But for right now, I'm not going to use any of these. I'm just going to use my fingers to manipulate the size and shape of the photo. So I'll manipulate it, I'll put it over in the corner kind of like I did everything else, and then I'll continue to quickly add the photos that I want. Again, this is a fairly simple process. It doesn't take a whole lot of time. I've worked with this app from anywhere from 2nd graders clear up to juniors in high school have used this app. And honestly, it does not take a whole lot of time before they catch on and they're doing things that I haven't even shown them. So that seems to be all the pictures that I have of Joey. So again, if I wanted to type in this, I would touch the capital T at the top and I would click and I could type his name. I would change that type color right here by clicking and holding and changing that. And when I'm finished, I can hit done, and then I can move his name wherever I want to move it. I do have an eraser bar up at the top that I can erase with. And one other thing that I wanted to show you, when I add another piece of paper, right down here, this is hugely important, especially for math teachers. If you want some lined paper, this is especially great. You have plain white paper, which is what I've used for this project, but you also have lined paper, graph paper, and coordinate grid paper, which is terrific if you're working different math problems. So you do have that as an option, which is great. One other thing that is very important to note, if I'll back up a page, let's say that I wanted to select something. My select tool is right here. It's the little hand tool. So that's my select tool. So now I'm all finished and I want to work through this, and I've made my presentation. I'm all done. Now what do I do? Well, if I'm a student, I've created it, and hopefully I have done a storyboard. because it's just as important for students, if not more, to do a storyboard as it is for teachers. So now it's time for me to go through and record what it is that I'm going to say. So I would hit the record button, which is right up here in the corner, and I would record myself saying whatever it is that I would want to say about my TV show. Let's say that I was doing this for a speech class, or I was practicing fluency, and I had my story written down on a piece of paper, and I was reading that in conjunction with the graphics that I have on the screen. Or for math students, again, this is very important for them because they can go through and they can explain a math problem to someone. Or let's say the small gas engine classes are describing, you know, say there's a picture of a weed eater engine on the screen, and they are describing the different parts of it, and they're talking about how to change the oil in one, or how to change the oil in a lawnmower, or what can you do to change the spark plugs, and they're identifying all the different pieces of the engine. They can do that with this sort of application. And so they would hit the record button, and I'll do that right now so you can see what that looks like. And you can see that as they hit that record button, it tells them exactly how much time has elapsed. And they'll just work their way through the pages as they go. Now, one thing that's important to note, as they flip through the pages, as they're recording, they should probably pause. A lot of apps will just stop the recording for half a second as you move through the pages, but this one doesn't. So you want to have them pause as they go through the pages because they're going to want to make sure that they do that. Then when your students are all finished with the recording process, they would just hit done. And here's the kicker. If they hit start over, it starts from the very, very beginning. Okay? I mean from the very beginning. You don't want to do that. If they hit save lesson, it takes them out and they save it as whatever title they want to give it. Make sure you tell them not to save it as their name, okay, because then they have 53 lessons saved as their name. It needs to have a title of value of some sort. They can choose to make it private or make it public. Then they'll ask to save it as a subject area, and then they can click save, and it will save that lesson, and then it will save it in their area. You can see that, I mean, I have a lot of goofy little things that I've saved here. My air server keeps turning on and off. I apologize. One second. As you can see, now that I've got my air server back, this is where all of the different projects that you've been creating are housed. And so the one that we just worked on is right here. In addition, right down here under your settings, if you click on that, you can see several different things. Number one, there is an intro video to Educreations right here. There is also a left-hand mode right here, which is kind of a neat little function. And then right here, under Featured, if you click on that, what is really great is you have access to all of the different Educreation films, videos that other teachers have created. And really, I mean, there are so many to choose from. So the world is your oyster, basically, as you look through these. Science, math, a ton of science videos, quite honestly. And my number one rule with anything like this is you need to make sure that you vet everything. But you can click on subject area in the upper left-hand corner, and you can scroll through all of the different things that you want to look at. You know, one that interests me is professional development, so I kind of want to go there and look. Obviously, there's not much there, but interesting. I was a former language arts teacher, so that is a biggie for me. So those are the ones that I find interesting. And then, of course, vocational studies. That's interesting that there are none in vocational studies. and kind of sad because that's such a great one that would lend itself. Mathematics, so many that you could choose from in mathematics. And again, just go through, use what you'd want to use in here, or just get ideas from others about how they've created their videos. So that is how you use Educreations. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you.